Joining us now is my new friend.
Hell yeah.
He's a good man. Mike Recine. He's the host of the Sit Down with Mike Recine, which is a really funny podcast. I've been going through the back catalog, which is pretty rare for me, to be honest. There's a lot of podcasts I like, but I don't usually do back catalog. You've probably seen him. He's a for real working stand-up comic. He's had a half-hour special on Comedy Central. He's written for the VMAs. He's been on Conan. Mike, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
It sure is.
I really liked how you laughed so hard at that Sam Harris drop. I appreciated that immensely.
Yeah, it's like you keep discovering like new things about him that he said that you're like, I didn't know you were going to go there.
Just like how whiny I like how whiny it is, though. It's like all of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
Am I inferior to John von Neumann? I don't think so, and I don't think you think so.
What we're gonna actually just do like a whole. We're just gonna do a run list soon where we just basically make fun of. I think we were talking like Sam Harris, Bill Maher, Peter Schiff. I totally have the softest spot for Maher, but he needs to be made fun of, and ridiculed. But let's start with you. Explain, because your show is like a kind of a mafia podcast, and I'm interested in mafia and organized crime stuff. But what is it about? Like, you mentioned scumbag-on-scumbag violence. Yeah. And the mafia, and why we like that. Could you explain that? Because we got some clips that might... That Owen Benjamin clip to me is amazing when he's talking about Sam Harris. And, and to me, there was something so like Sopranos-esque about that, where he really does like nail who Sam Harris is, right? And it sort of takes, I think you said this before, but it takes like a scumbag to recognize that. Yes, So is this example of Anthony Scaramucci and David Frum what you're talking about? Yeah, I think so. All right, so let's start with this. This happened about 10 months ago, and I guess we'll go. Yeah, we'll start with this first. So this is I think this is about 10 months ago. The Mooch is on Bill Maher's show. I love how you've frozen it in like the most Bill Maher like move. Like, okay. I was telling you the other day. That should be like a painting somewhere. Yeah, that would be like, that should be Bill Maher. That should be, if he gets on the Walk of Fame, that should be his posture.
Any high school student do that for a high school project. Paint this.
Yeah,
still.
Totally.
It's at, what is that, 1047?
I told I was saying on Woke Bros the other day, Waz said, Waz like, I'm an atheist, I'm not Black Bill Maher, and I just went on like I was just like, yeah, okay. It's just like such a stupid premise. It's like okay, you sing, you're not Shaka Khan, okay, like, so. This is but Bill Maher's not the center of this clip. The Mooch is on, and David Frum, I guess, kind of ambushes him. Now, Scaramucci's kind of like my boy a little bit because, when he came on the scene, a lot of people were making fun of him, doing hacky Italian-American jokes, and I feel like as a fellow Paisan, I wanted to defend him a little bit. What's the defense? There's a lot of, like, snarky, like, Harvard comedy writers who will do Italian racism because they can get away with it. Do you think that they're getting, because they're so uptight about even just like good comedy across the board, and sometimes good comedy across the board is plays with and explores offensive dynamics, that just how is that what they do is that all of it's sublimated into Italians? Yeah, I think so. So it's like a pressure valve kind of super hacky with Italians because they can't do jokes. All right, so but I actually have a theory about why I like Scaramucci now too, though. After I watch this clip, this is David Frum's going to go after Scaramucci, and we're going to watch this, and then Mike, I want to first your reaction, obviously.
He totally did. But even if he didn't, Anthony, you know that all 17 of our intelligence agencies said Russia meddled in our election.
That's different.
Without.
I accept that, and I think that.
Well, then I just said they helped.
Okay, but
that's one reason why
they were helping him, or
of course they were helping
creating
him.
a disruption in the process, and
as a Republican,
they favored him.
I've spent more time in a Republican administration than you. As a Republican, does it not?
It's a cheap shot.
Does it not?
David's coming across pretty angry tonight.
I am angry. Does it not stick in your craw that Vladimir Putin wanted to help your guy so much?
Oh, well, I didn't see. See, you brought up the WikiLeaks thing. The WikiLeaks guy said.
Doesn't it bother you? Don't you ask the question? Why did my guy?
Tell me
why
where
did
the
my guy win the Putin primary?
The Russians.
No. Okay, I didn't hear either one of those things.
Your level of anger and sanctimony is not coming across great.
No, but I think David,
for me, it's not a show. It's not a performance.
No.
It's the country that is in danger, and you helped to endanger it.
I'm going to tell you what you're doing. You're making a very big mistake.
No. This is we need to have this conversation.
Elitism. You're turning a deaf ear to what's actually really going on out there.
This is real.
You're going to play that card, or you're going to name drop Harvard, one or the other.
Look, guys.
Okay. Let me ask you.
I'm going to be able to do both, David. Isn't that the beauty of me?
If y'all gonna start a
Kick
fight,
his ass.
right in the middle.
Get him, Anthony.
How about that?
Okay, good.
I'm able to do both.
Look, I went to LSU. All right.
Doesn't matter. I only brought it up because Rosenstein is a good guy, and I have no problem defending Rosenstein.
But
I've known him for 32 years.
But you mentioned that the president. Why hasn't the president called for an independent commission? Away from Congress, away from the partisanship, to investigate what happened. And what do we do?
He just suggested that, and I told him it was silly.
Well, no, it's not.
But he's not going to do it. So
That's
let's
right.
not pretend. All right,
so
let's move on to
we're at a point now where we need.
So let's not.
All right, is there any more Frum and Scaramucci? Oh, no. Okay. All right. What's going on there, Mike?
I just want to be the guy in Scaramucci's dressing room who's like, you did good out there, kid. Nice job. You handled that cuck very well.
What is it though that makes? All right, well let's get Scaramucci's reaction to this first. Scaramucci told TMZ what was going on.
He's a complete and total angry liar, and he was trying to set me up on the set where he was basically trying to say that my business, which I had to put up for sale to sell, to clear myself to be able to report to the American government. I had 4 bids. I chose the Chinese company because they were going to save my company's employees, save all the jobs. And so what David Frum was trying to do tonight, he had shotgunned in his mouth a question for me, like a gotcha question. He was trying to say that after I left the American government, the Chinese lost interest in my company. That is factually and totally not true. He was trying to paint me as a nefarious person. I see that, yeah. And so, as I pointed out to Bill Maher, David Frum is actually a horrific human being. He's very, very dishonest, very factually incorrect person. But because he hates Donald J. Trump, the president, so much, he has Trump derangement syndrome. He was focusing all his anger on me. And what I said to Bill Maher, to be ambushed like that on the show is very unprofessional. It's like very uncool. But I don't mind people disagreeing with me, and I don't mind people being philosophically opposed from me, but I hate liars. Okay, there's no reason for him to say that the Chinese company lost interest in my company because I was no longer in the administration.
All right. Look, the Chinese company lost interest in your company, dude. Just accept it. But besides that, I'm totally on board with him. What is it about this exchange? Like, it's scumbag on scumbag violence, but why do we like Scaramucci as a scumbag so much more than Frum?
Because didn't Frum like engineer the Iraq War? Or he was a speechwriter for Bush,
I mean, he wrote the Axis of Evil speech. He's a massive. I mean, David Frum has way more blood on his hands than Scaramucci.
Right.
Totally. Right. But just even stylistically, what is it about? There's something because like Scaramucci, at least for me, it's like it's weirdly innocent.
Yeah.
Like he's a hedge fund scumbag Republican.
Yeah.
Obviously, he works with Donald Trump. He's a massive scumbag. But there's like a part. He's like, hey, we're all Bill Maher together. What's going on? Yeah. And David Frum's just like, I can parlay this to a senior editor job at the Atlantic. Like there's something.
Yeah.
There is something very like covert and slimy and sanctimonious and repulsive about David Frum.
Yeah, it's like watching my dog like fight a snake, you know? And he did pretty well. He did a good job. Nice job, Anthony.
Is that why we're interested in mafia guys though? Is like that, like the popular image, like that they're kind of like, hey, I do some fucked up stuff, but I'm honest about it or whatever.
But doesn't it kind of feel like Scaramucci's like in on the grift a little bit? Like he wrote that book, Blue Collar President. So, so I feel like maybe he kind of believes that Trump is the blue collar president.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean like he might actually believe the grift?
Yeah.
Like he does seem kind of dumb in a way.
Yeah.
I think
he does seem kind of earnest.
I think he actually believed he was
earnest.
serving his country. Like, like a lot of people can say that, but I think Scaramucci actually thinks like the president of the United States, of course.
He's a fucking president. No, that was actually the one thing I think in the New Yorker when they broke like that amazing interview that he gave that's already like, ancient history where he like talked about like Bannon trying to suck his own cock and stuff.
Didn't he call the reporter to do that, by the way?
Oh no, that was what made it even better. It was like, hey, you don't gotta call me for this.
Yeah. I'm gonna give these people a piece of my mind.
But I think the reporter was saying,
if you wanted to be profiled,
I don't want to be profiled.
Well, just
I'm
what
not
you're
Steve
trying
Bannon.
to do. What you're trying to do.
I'm not Steve Bannon.
No.
I'm not trying to suck my own cock. I'm not trying to build my own brand off the fucking strength of the president.
Yeah, but don't
I'm
you think
here to
that
serve the
would be
country.
good? But don't
Wait, will you play that again? The second part of that.
That was surprisingly measured for.
Sounded really calm.
Yeah.
I don't want to be profiled.
Well, just
I'm
what
not
you're
Steve
trying
Bannon.
to do. What you're trying to do.
I'm not Steve Bannon.
No.
I'm not trying to suck my own cock. I'm not trying to build my own brand off the fucking strength of the president.
Listen,
I'm here
I'm
to
trying
serve
to
the
choose my
country.
words
Don't-
carefully here. Let's see. I'm not trying to, how do you say, suck my own cock.
But I think the reporter said, he's like, somebody said, like, actually, like, Scaramucci is by far the most earnest person that I've dealt with in the administration. Like, he doesn't, because a lot of the other ones, like, they badmouth Trump behind his back so they can get good press. Like, he basically is like, Scaramucci's pretty much just like, Trump's awesome, and I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
And all of his anger and animus is mostly targeted at other people that he sees as like undermining the mission.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we like a dog more than a snake. But what is it like? What about though? Because I know that this sort of like liberal comedy kind of cultural thing, if we didn't come along as socialists, you would be like in some gravel pit right now with Anthony Cumia being like, you can say that on Twitter if you're black.
Probably,
So thank God we came along. But what I was gonna say is like, so what is it though that because I look at David Frum. Okay, I think we all understand we kind of like Scaramucci. I look at David Frum, and even setting aside, like, there's a substantive reason. Iraq, George Bush, his whole legacy, his whole like, he's a terrible, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But setting all that aside, I look at that clip and the way he's like, this is serious. I've worked at the White House. That got an applause line. Mm-hmm. Who are the fucking people that like that?
I don't know, but it's weird how these liberals have such a hard-on for these like never Trump Republicans.
What's that about?
I don't know. But
you don't have any like comedic theory of that? I mean, honestly, because I can't explain it.
It just seems like they're all kind of playing for the same team, and like, I don't know. I feel like in the past year I've kind of realized that politics should be a conflict between like the rich and the poor, but it's not. They find ways to, and it seems like all these rich liberals are not really like on our side.
Yeah, that is.
And I feel like when I want to relate to like my grandparents or like my mom, I try to bring up stuff that liberals are doing and try to find some common ground there. But I don't know.
Pretty. You got a pretty.
My grandmother like loves. She's 93. She likes Donald Trump a lot. My mom just kind of doesn't pay attention to anything. The day after Trump got elected, I was in a writer's room in L.A. writing for some show, and everybody just came in like bummed out, and they were like, "Well, the showrunner was like, guys, we'll see what happens. I don't know." And I call my grandmother, I put her on speakerphone, and I go, Mimi. I go, "Congratulations." She goes, "Thank you. We made history. I'm so happy."
So is she like, you know, because it's funny because she loves Trump, so she's not like one of these
Loves
like
him.
she's not like I'm a Republican and I like his policies, but I wish he wasn't so rude. But she's actually more like she's like a 93-year-old that if she had an internet account, she'd be like, look at these faggots on the Michael Brooks show.
Yeah, and I think
communism isn't real. They tried it with Stalin.
yeah, and I think Donald Trump is kind of.
Oh my God, they're such cocks.
Yeah, well, Trump has kind of brought out her
that.
hatred of like, because now she's like, I hate Paul Ryan, I hate Mitch McConnell, they're a bunch of scumbags, and then I'm like, I'll be like, yeah, have you heard of the term cuck-servative? Now I get to like explain to my grandma what a cuck-servative is. So.
Oh, it's like, yes, because they wanted the Arab to take their wives with immigration. Exactly. Thank you, sweet boy.
Yeah.
It's like every kid on a Reddit thread that like
that's her. Yeah,
like you think it's like I hope this kid like loses his virginity, gets a life. It's actually your
my
grandmother. You're gay, and you hate the country.
Yeah,
get him, Anthony.
She couldn't stand Jeb either. She's like, he's a little baby. He's going, oh, can my mommy come? Can my brother come? She's like,
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we like Trump in 2015.
Right.
That
we had
everyone
a
was
couple
like,
of months there where we were enjoying
Trump is doing good things for the world.
Right.
The Republicans deserve this.
Right.
Well, there was one. The only moment in modern. I mean, there's some. Well, now with like, you know, Rashida Tlaib and AOC and Ilan and Mar, like there's a lot of good stuff, and Bernie and the Progressive International. But there was a time where it was like the primary night in New Hampshire, and it was like Bernie crushed it, and it was like, okay, we might actually have a chance here to really do something about healthcare and inequality and climate and racism and, you know, whoa. And then on the Republican side, just watching a parade of people be like, well, I think the party will come to its senses. They're just like Trump, just be like, boy, do I love it here. It's great. And then like something like Jeb's a loser, but I won't be mean tonight because we won. We won by so much, but we'll be mean again tomorrow, right? Right? And just watching like all of the right people being upset. Mm-hmm. And some of the right people and some of the wrong people, like the really wrong people, being happy. I did see that.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of like, wow, you know, the real side of the righteous get a big win, and a major scumbag gets a win, but it's at the expense of like chronic offender scumbags for decades. And he's kind of a funny scumbag.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like if you were in high school and you were getting bullied by like the debate club, and then you just found a guy, like a 30-year-old guy, to like who like sold drugs in the parking lot to like get rid of them for you. But now you have a new problem.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick around now.
Yeah. I'm the king of this school now. His name's Rick. He's like 42.
That's the president.
Yeah.
You just enjoyed that Michael Brooks Show video, and you can get a lot more by subscribing to us here at the Michael Brooks Show YouTube channel. It's literally right there.